Okay, here I keep, I have a few of these. The little roller thingies. I can't think of what the word is right now. Spray inks. I have, like, alcohol-based ink, and I have watercolor-based ink. I have spare credit cards, because I just keep them on hand at all times. A sponge, in case I ever need a sponge. This tool that I found at Michael's that, like, will do shapes and gesso and stuff. This is just like random. These used to be sorted, but now they're just kind of whatever pens and pencils I throw in there. Sumi ink. Glazing medium. These are actually all of my different mediums are here. So gel medium and glazing medium, those are the two I use the most often, so they're like right there so I can grab them because my chair is right here, so I just spin around. In here, this is a shoebox from IKEA that I have turned into an art place. I have blank, like clear plastic for stencils. I have laminating sheets, and then this binder you've probably seen before, but it has all of my templates. And if I'm feeling lazy, I just shove them in here and eventually sort them, and you can see that I have some. And I also have a set of stamps here, and I think there should be another set of stamps. Yep, all my stamps are in here, kind of out of sight, out of mind, so I think I need to move them. And then this one, this is like less easily accessible because I don't use it very often, but this is all my bookmaking stuff. So these are canvas boards that I use for covers. Down there are the tools I use. I have beeswax, my like bookbinding cloth and tape. I have silk ribbon that I use to do the fringes. Basically anything, like if I need to bank a book, I'm gonna look in here. My needles are in here, my threads are in here. And then the other random thing that's in here but makes sense because it's with the beeswax is my, this little guy. Little tiny iron, I can't remember what that is specifically called. And below here, we have blank canvases that I just keep for when I feel inspired. Here is a box of like random media that was sent to me by Golden, and as I run out of stuff I pull stuff out of here and use it. Here's a foam head that I'm eventually going to turn into a sculpture. That's my giant bucket of gesso. Over here, so I just turn around, I keep my paint right here. This is random collage stuff. This is tissue paper. In here we have fabric paint, we have some random mediums, and we have some journals that are either in progress, so like this is an in progress journal. And then this is a book that I got as a present, and I'm eventually going to turn into an altar book, but I haven't got that far yet. But it has like this really awesome, like luxurious paper. It's going to be great. This is acrylic paint, which this pouch usually lives down here with these pouches. Another journal in progress. Usually my water brush and most used markers are in here, so if they're not in the travel bag, they're in here. They're like water brushes that I haven't started yet. Down here, I have some miscellaneous paint and medium. This is watercolor paint. This is acrylic paint. This is gouache. Here is my pan pastel palette. In here, I have a giant, like this is all, I guess you can't tell what that is, but those are all stamps. This thing's full of stamps. This is my little test journal where if you weren't following for you've already seen this before. Like I test out techniques and keep it in there. Got a couple things of paint there, and then here is where I throw like any catalogs and stuff that I get. They go in here. The box below it is empty. I haven't put anything in there yet. This whole wall are my Copic markers, which I have sorted by like color families. These poles are like $3 from IKEA, and these little tubs are $1 each. And I think like they're cute, but they're also functional because I can take it off and take it to my station and work with it. I wanted something like that because I often draw in bed. Here is my heat gun, which is plugged in, like I can turn it on right now. I find I use it a lot more often whenever it's plugged in and ready to go and close to me. Paintbrushes, I have a ton of. These are like cheap crappy ones so that I don't care if I ruin them. So they're all in there. This is a glaze. More of those micro beads. Apparently I have them in 2 locations. Here's a stamp that I carved. That's probably, I think this is the first stamp I ever carved out, actually. This stuff is cool. I don't use it too often, but it's like this sparkly powder stuff. It's very cool. I got this tip from Julie Balzar, and I haven't decided yet if I like it or not, because if I forget about it, it gets gross, but I have like a jar of water at all times, and I usually like try to empty it after every time I use it, but sometimes I forget. This is from last night, so it's not like it's been there for a week, but if I forget it for a couple of days, it gets smelly. It's gross. Here's a bunch of paint. Oh, and the nice thing about all of these baskets is that I can take them off. I hardly ever take these ones off, but this I do. I can take this off and take it to my desk. Same here, take this off. These are Prismacolor, Prismacolor pencils. Whole bunch of those. This is a book. These are tags that I have made, and then this book is pretty awesome. It's word cards by Memosine, and they're all cut to size. It's like watercolor. It's sort of like watercolor paper. But this is something I work on if I'm like, I don't know what to do, so I'll make like a bunch of these. This is a calendar designed by a friend of mine that I need to switch because it's on the wrong month, but that's okay. Washi tape. Again, I can take this off the wall. Take it, like you'll often see it in my videos, but this is where it lives. That's pretty much like all my supplies. This is like some fiber, miscellaneous art. That's made by Natalie Malik, which I think is really cool. This is something I randomly found at a yard sale like years ago, and I thought it was super cool, so I've had that forever. Here's a painting that I made. In fact, there's a bunch of paintings by me up there, which I should probably try to sell or something, but I kind of like them, so. Velcro that I used for making those homemade distress ink applicators. These are tins, like picture frames, just random stuff from the recycling center that I hang there so that if I'm like, I don't know what to do, I'll find something there. Okay, so that's like my main, this is my main art journal station. I will show you the rest of my craft room though. Ignore the mess because it's always messy. Okay, here is, this is my sewing machine that I don't like. Don't really use it anymore since I got a kid. That's like a regular adult size sewing machine, but I bought a kid sewing machine and now I only use the kid one, which is weird. Here is a sewing box that I repurposed. I meant to put pictures of my blog with this project, but I don't think I ever did. But I put the zebra print fabric on it. These boxes are all of my miscellaneous sewing stuff. So like we have lace trim, we have embroidery wool, rickrack, and so you see it's just full of, and it's a lot easier for me to like actually use it now that I have it sorted. Here, again, it's messy back there, but this is all, each one of these is full of fabric and they're all sorted by color. So like you can see this is like purple and green, this is all pink, this is like black and white. I have like 2 tubs of black and white, I think, because that's my favorite. This is all school stuff here. Those are my crutches because I broke my foot, well, chip fracture this week. I don't actually use them though because I'm stubborn. Here, this is school stuff here, but it's like super organized. It used to be just a chaotic mess, but now it's organized. It's great. It's still a chaotic mess in other places of the house. Over here is kind of like lesser used stuff. So here is recycled silk wool. That's like miscellaneous stuff from my jewelry business. Boxes of cards, different sprays, which I never use because I hate them, but I have them. This is a box of homemade spray inks. Who knows what's in here? Let's see. Oh, doilies, tarot cards. This is actually labeled on the other side, but put in wrong. See? These are these coaster things that I bought to make postcards out of. So when you get your postcard, this is what it started looking like. The back still looks the same, just with my writing on it. old dictionary that I use for stuff. Miscellaneous artwork in progress. Let's see, let's put at the top of the pile. Oh, I guess this one's actually done. I should hang that up. That's probably the only one that's actually finished. Let's see. I guess that one is sorta, I don't know, that one could use something. It's kind of cool. Anyway, that was that. All sorts of paper stuff is in here. This is cool because I have a work surface usually. In fact, this is my paper cutter. And it lives there. Sometimes I move it if I need the space for something else. Miscellaneous drawers of whatever kind of vintage photographs. There's atlases. This is like, I don't know what this stuff is actually called. It's fabric on one side and paper on the other side. I have a ton of that, which I'm going to make some journals out of at some point. More paper down here. And then these drawers are mostly for my jewelry business. Like, these are change purses, little book necklaces, miscellaneous parts for necklaces. Here's some finished product. That's a bottle opener. That's a pocket mirror. Whole drawer of pocket mirrors. Over here we have all of my art books, which I know they're not really used, but I don't really look at them that often, but I wanted to have them so that when I wanted to, I could get to them. And what I do is I pull out this pile, because these are just like tubs of all my button parts. I just pull that out and then get in there and get whatever books. Here I have stuff I don't use very often, or like that I don't use very like every day, like my stamp carving stuff. I want to be able to get it when I want it, but I don't carve a stamp every day. This has recycled pencils, dried balsam needles, and glue pads, so it's obviously random stuff. This is all refills for like Copic markers or spare paint markers, etc. Here's like stack of, there's a few missing because I sent them in to possibly be published, but stack of journals that are finished. They live here. Here I have, this is all like art jewelry or random magazines. This is like a painting in progress that I should maybe finish. It looks really weird, right? Ready-made, because it's awesome. I have like 2 things full of ready-made. This is like Somerset, art journaling, cloth, paper, scissors, because I keep all of those magazines. I don't really buy that many of them, so it's not like it gets completely overwhelming. Here, this is like just prints of like my artwork. These 2 boxes are full of mini canvases, and so when I want to work on a small project, I come grab a little canvas from over here. And I have, this is a drawing by Nick. Nick made me this. This you guys have seen is the original for the postcard. Some paintings that I did. Signed band poster from Rasputina. And some more artwork here. And even some more artwork there that's just, like, I just have so much stuff and not enough room for it. So, and that's where I work. So I hope that you enjoyed this kind of random tour of my studio. It really is that messy, and perhaps messier than it appears. But I get a lot of stuff done, and everything I need, like, I know where it is. Someone else might not be able to find it, but I can find it. So, have fun making space for your artwork this week, and I'll see you next week. Okay, so this is my desk. It's very messy. This is like a desk cover thingy. My desk is huge. It's awesome. I used to work in very small spaces, so it's nice to have all the space. My computer's right here. I have this lamp and this lamp for making videos. I have a nice window, lots of light. That is really that messy. Sometimes it's messier, but it doesn't seem to matter how much I clean it. It always ends up like that, so I just kind of go with it. Right over here, when we turn, I have this cubby that is actually a shoe rack that I turned on its side and turned into an organizer for me. And I have these type of baskets that I got like 3 for $1, something like that at Walmart. And this is pretty organized. There's a couple cubbies that like don't really have a purpose yet, but that's okay. So let me take you through it. I can never really see the bottom layer because I always have like piles of stuff. Like here's an art journal in progress. Here's a bunch of markers, a magazine, some miscellaneous leather from a necklace I was making, glue gun, this is circle cutter, so Derwent ink pens, like all sorts of crap here. There always is. So I plan on that, and this stuff is stuff that I don't need to access very often. Here are all of my index cards and miscellaneous like office stuff. We have my student grade watercolor paint, E6000, which is essential for some jewelry stuff, gems, miscellaneous stuff I don't really use very often. Here I have blank journals and like 3D elements that I bought for a class and used only for that class and never since. This cubby is empty because I have a printer that lives there, but I took it out for a button making thing lately. Here I have a big roll of Punchinella, and this is my Copic airbrush system. Here are where my business cards live, and you can see they're all labeled. Like these are actually Moo business cards, like the minis, but I made them as pocket mirror tags, and those are for my optical lenses. Here we have some ink. This is for fabric, and I bought a bunch of it like on cheap on eBay or something, and I think the only one I've ever opened is the orange, so I should work on that. Here I have punches, miscellaneous punches, and then this is all ink. So there's like a thing full of ink in there. This is my label maker, and I have another one that's currently who knows where at the point, but that lives there, plus back in there are the refills. Here are pan pastel soft tools, and the pastels that I have that are not in my palette, which you'll see later. Here's where my watercolors live when they're not in my travel bag. Back there are my portfolio oil pastels, and these are Neocolors. I had them in a tin, but I realized I was never using them, so I put them in a tin so that I see them and use them more often. Here's all sorts of tape. Generally not washi tape, because I have that on a dispenser that you'll see in a little bit, but every other kind of tape you can think of is probably in there. This is kind of random stuff, but there are Stuart Gill different kinds of paints. I really should put those with my other paints because I never think to use them there. I don't even know what else is back in there. Here we have twinkling H2O watercolors. Same thing should be with my other paints. And my craft knife, which usually actually lives down here. I put it in the wrong place. Glitter, this is actually a school supply, but I have tons of glitter back in there. These are stamps. This is the stamps like my name and website address. I have a couple different alphabet sets, little ones. You've seen this box before. It has a bunch of my hand carved stamps in it. I'm not even going to pull it out because it's going to fall apart, but everything's in there. Miscellaneous office supplies like extra tape, binder clips, and then these are Shiva paint sticks. Here is a Copic DVD and some random stuff, like this is the idea journal, not an actual art journal. Here we have, this is a button that Nick made me a long time ago. More stamps, including my date stamper. Back in there, in that blue pouch, are Perfect Pearls. Here are some empty glitter containers that I thought I would use for something, and these are micro beads that I keep thinking I should come up with more than one use for. I use them for class to make like these bottle necklaces, but that's it. This is a random unsorted one that I have not figured out a purpose for. This is all of my receipts and invoices and stuff, and then I also have blank shipping tags. These are clear. These have stuff printed on them, and then I also have some library pockets, which which are these. This is kind of a random assortment of, I think back in there I have blank DVDs, I have some liver of sulfur, which is for like blackening metal, and then I have some flowers that Nick made whenever he did origami. I think his instructor made that one. Whoops. Here, Pearl X powders. This is a pen, like a dip pen thing that I borrowed from Nick. In here we have embossing powders, and then this tub is alcohol inks, and that's what this is, blending solution for alcohol inks. These are, I'm going to pull out this one so I can show you. I made my own applicators for distress inks, which are down here, and I basically used Velcro like this to stick onto these blocks that I got at the recycling center. So each one has its own color, and most of them are labeled. So this one is for faded jeans, and that way I don't have to like always be switching those little pads back and forth. I think they'll last longer that way. And then in here I have pretty much a lifetime supply of eyelets. I mean, this thing is full of them, and I hardly ever use them, but I have a bunch that I picked up randomly on clearance. That's why I'm not allowed to shop clearance anymore. And we have distress inks and miscellaneous Tim Holtz products. This is the battery charger for my camera, and this plugs in for my heat tool, which you'll see in a minute. And then here's my little bulletin board with some random stuff on it. And I have some miscellaneous artist trading cards. I have a bunch more that I keep meaning to put up, but I haven't done it yet. Okay, I forgot that on top of here I have stuff. This is like a little wooden drawer organizer that I painted with gesso and never did finish. The only one that's labeled sequins and googly eyes, since apparently I have a big use for those. And then I know that in this drawer, magnets. I have no idea what's in the other drawers. One of them used to be all glue. Oh, this is all coins. More glitter, which is funny because I never use glitter because it gets everywhere, but I have a ton. Miscellaneous paintings that have not been hung up yet. A little book that Nick made for me. This is my little jar of everybody's names for when I do the drawings. These are all the full year members are in here. Big box of Scrabble tiles. These are all foam brushes. This is like my medicine stuff. That's more medicine stuff up there. That's my crafty muse. I trash picked that picture and think it's super cool. Her name is Maria Josefa, I think was the name. It's on the back of it with a date, but I can't remember exactly, but she rocks.